Welcome back, my dear sweet friends. You are watching the channel Frugal Money Saver. We hope this video finds you safe and we hope it finds you well. Today we are going to talk about how the value of our dollars are decreasing. Prices are rising. The dollar is not buying as much as it used to. We want to go back in time and we want to take some valuable living examples from the Great Depression era. The more I am researching the Great Depression, the more I am realizing how relevant the way they lived then is to now. Today we are going to just take some simple, practical examples and share them with you on how you can incorporate them into your own lives and make them relevant for today. And you know we wouldn't leave this video without sharing a great economical recipe with you. And this one goes way back to the Depression era and it uses potatoes. So we hope you enjoy this video and find it very helpful. If you are new here, click that subscribe button, come on in and be part of our Frugal family, because Frugal Money Saver viewers, honestly, hands down, the best on YouTube. And you know I say that all the time, but we sincerely mean it. We're also going to share with you a small stock up grocery haul, just a couple of lost leaders at ShopRite. So let's get to that grocery haul first. Here is our super small haul of basically stock up items. The first thing we got was 20 pounds of the Carolina Gold rice. That is by far our absolute favorite rice. This 20-pound bag was on sale for $6.99. That comes to about 2.18 cents an ounce. 2 cents an ounce for rice. What are we going to do with this big bag? Well, we usually buy our rice in this size bag. I haven't bought it in quite a while. The date on this bag is for 2 years. But what we do, because once you open it, rice can go bad. And we did have that happen to us several years ago, right, Paul?
Yeah, it went rancid.
It smelled bad. But that was before we learned our trick. What we do is we divide the rice into gallon size freezer bags and we stack them in the freezer. And when we need a bag, we take 1 gallon size bag out at a time. We keep it in the refrigerator and use it till it's used up. And then we go on to the next bag. I did buy my 3 bananas. The English cucumbers were $1 a piece. Now they just seem to last longer. So for $1 a piece, we got 2. I got another bag of my carrots. They were $1.29 for the organic. I needed another head of garlic. Now these are just some stock up items. The Quaker oats were $1.99. Now oats in our area have been pretty pricey. For our area at that price is pretty good. Maxwell House Coffee, with the way everything is going, they were $1.99. We bought 4 to add to our stockpile for Paul. I did not have a raisin in sight and I have been waiting for them to go on sale. This did not seem like a low price, but it was the lowest. $3.99 for 22 ounces of raisins. And what's good about these, they do not have any sulfur dioxide. They're just raisins. Flour was on sale, 5 pounds for $1.74 of the unbleached flour. So that was a great deal. I bought 2 of these. So that's our little haul. It came to $31.03. A lot of it was stock up items, which is fine with us. I have to say, looking at the food hauls we do now, and even looking at the food hauls we did a year to 2 years ago, so different. There were so many more frivolous items. If you notice, if we buy chips, it's usually few and far between, where I used to get 2 bags of chips every single haul. There's no cookies. If we have something sweet in the house, I'll usually bake it. we are really, really watching those extra added expenses that creep into our food budget that we really don't need. So that has been really eye-opening for us. And the best part is if it's not in the house, all the junk food, then we don't eat it. And that's a good thing. So now we are going to go back in time just a little bit. Both my parents were children of the Great Depression. My father was born in 1926 and my mom was born in 1928. Times were lean back then. I remember my mom telling me stories of how she would go to school and she would have a sandwich of sauteed greens. Usually it was dandelions, she said. And she would be so embarrassed of the lunch she had that she would hide it in her paper bag, she would say, and she would take bites of the sandwich and put it back in the bag. Times were tough, and my father pretty much the same way. He left high school at the age of 17 to join the Navy, and he fought at the very end of World War II. Dad went back, got his GED, and then in his 30s, he went on to get his master's degree in special education teaching, and he had a lucrative career as a special ed teacher for the rest of his working life. My brothers and I didn't have the struggles that my mom and dad did financially, but each of us took away from our upbringing a sense of how important it was to not go into debt, to not spend money frivolously, and to stretch your dollar as much as you could. So let's go back now to the Great Depression. Home entertainment during the Great Depression was literally non-existent. You had a radio, possibly, if you had the funds to have one, but you basically entertained yourselves. Now, I have to fast forward to today and ask, even those of us who have cut cable, how many pay-for streaming channels do we have in our home right now? I can tell you, Paul and I have a few. And you know I keep it real here. We have Prime Video, I have Disney Plus, and I have Stars because it was 99 cents a month. And we also have Philo. The other night, Paul and I were watching TV, and I turned to him and I said, there's nothing on. There's nothing on. We're like, what are we paying for? Paul and I'm encouraging you to do this as well. If you have tons of streaming channels coming into your home at $10 a month, $15 a month, who knows what it may be, reevaluate those channels right now. How often do you watch them? How often do you find something on them worthy to be watched? I know Paul and I have set a new goal that we cannot turn the TV on until 7 o'clock at night. We're reading, we're relaxing, we're talking, we're doing puzzles, old-fashioned stuff. I think what this is going to do, by limiting the amount of sitting in front of the TV, scrolling, we're going to realize what channels we use and what channels we don't, and it's time to clean house. Really look at home entertainment. We have become so dependent on other people and other ways to entertain us, and it is taking our money. It truly is. So we need to get back to basics on that. The second item that we talk about all the time, but we're going to revisit it in a new light, is meal planning. During the Depression, they did not have the luxury to get up, go to the refrigerator, freezer, open the door. What do I feel like making tonight? They had to be diligent with their meal planning. They knew exactly how much food they had and how it had to be stretched. And I encourage you to get back to meal planning if you are not doing so. Look at what you have. Inventory everything. Figure out the best way to make your food dollar stretch. Growing up, my mother cooked extremely simply. They were stews, they were soups, they were chops, there was pasta, very simple, rustic food. But it was not elaborate, and I believe that was because of how she grew up. She would waste nothing, my mother. Nothing. And I encourage you to do the same thing. You've got a little bit of ketchup in a jar, add a little water, shake it up, use it. Salad dressing, add a drop of vinegar, shake it up, use it. Let's not be frivolous with the food we do have. Now let's bring it to modern times again. Always have a backup meal. to keep you from going through the drive-thru. They didn't have the luxury back then. They weren't going to McDonald's or Burger King, whatever it might be. The people of the Depression cooked 7 days a week. We've become complacent. Not that that's terrible, but if we can become a little more diligent in cooking and preparing home-cooked meals, I think we would benefit nutritionally, I think we would benefit financially, and better tasting food all the way around. Another way that they saved money during the Great Depression was gardening. People grew their own food. Every little bit that we can grow supplements our food budget. I will link a video at the end to show you our pear tree, the pears it produced last year, the tomatoes we got, the basil, the string beans. We were very blessed. We do not have a huge garden. A lot of our gardening is done in containers, and we encourage you to do that as well. I'm going to let Paul take you outside for a minute just to show you a little bit of basic container gardening.
Well, it's time to start thinking about container gardens for this coming spring and summer. Container gardening is just an excellent way to grow some food around your house. This is a 5-gallon pail from the bakery of a local grocery store. It's just a plain 5-gallon bucket. They're food grade plastic. It's not going to leach into your dirt. It's not going to leach into the roots or your plants. Here's another one. This one is kind of older. We've been using these. And what I do is I drill holes on the bottom. That lets the water out so you don't, overwater. If you have no property at all, you can do it on your front steps. You can do it in your driveway, any place there is. And you can move them around so they're always in the sun. Let's take a look at what we have in the barn. Okay, these are our fig plants, but look at the buds on them. These guys, if you can see that, they're all budding. They're ready to go. We water them only on the warmer days during the winter so that they don't freeze the roots, because this is outside. This is not heated. They love this giant window. Boy, look at that, So container gardening is an awesome way to get some extra produce in your home, save some money, and it's fun to do.
How about our precious fig trees? That was started from just a little cutting. I've got 5 fig trees. Do you know how delicious fresh figs are? They're out of this world. And they are in those containers. And we bring them in outside the elements in the winter, bring them out when it's warm enough. Basil, tomatoes, peppers, these are all extremely easy to grow in food-safe containers. And like Paul said, drag them around to the sun. Wherever the sun is, that's where you pull them, and you will get a bumper crop. You don't need a large piece of land to be able to grow some of your own food, even if it's just fresh herbs. Another thing I've learned by researching the Great Depression is that they were conscious of how much they used of everything. There was no wasting, like I said, and we can learn from that. Be conscious of how much you use of something, whether it be electricity, whether it would be food, toilet tissue, paper towels, gasoline. Be conscious of how much you're using of these items, because when we become conscious of it, you make a mental note, wow, I used the car twice this week just to run to the store, or whatever it is. That's gas. Gas is expensive right now. So let's be conscious of how much we use of everything. And that will help us so much, because that's how they did it. They had so much, and they had to make that so much last. I think now times are calling for a little reflection on how much we're actually using of what we have. Another way they managed was they always found the best price for everything. And then they waited to be able to buy whatever they needed in cash. That is something we could really learn in this day and age. So much of what we buy is on credit. And not that that is a bad thing, long as you pay that bill off at the end of the month. These are just basic, simple hints. But sometimes we need to revisit them and remember how the people of that era managed, and how right now, to stretch our dollars, we can really learn a lot from them. I hope these gentle reminders just encouraged you, made you stop and think for a minute. Because the way prices are rising right now, we need to be diligent. We need to start paying attention just a little bit more. From home entertainment, to food, to gasoline, to electricity, everything is rising. And so that our dollar does not continue to shrink, we need to use it wisely. So we hope this video was encouraging. Now we're going to turn the camera around. We're going to get into the kitchen and we are going to make a no words to describe recipe called potato balls. This goes back to the Great Depression. We are going to ramp it up just a teeny tiny bit because I have an ingredient that I need to use up, so I'm going to incorporate it. But by no means do you need to incorporate this extra ingredient. You can just make them as is. They are heavenly. And let's turn this camera around and get into the kitchen. This recipe I found online, and I will link it down below, from the New England Yankee magazine. And this was a recipe from the Depression. Basically, what we're using is 2 cups of leftover cold mashed potatoes, about 3/4 cups of panko breadcrumbs, an egg. It is not too difficult, but I think this is going to be delicious. We are upping it a little bit. I have some mozzarella that I want to use up. I am going to take a piece of that mozzarella and cut it into a couple of very small cubes. Yep, you're getting the idea. And we are going to stuff our mashed potato puffs with a little bit of mozzarella. So let's get to work. I took our egg and I just gave it a good whisking. Here we have our panko breadcrumbs, and you can season these any way you want. I'm going to season it with a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, and some black ground pepper. Now I'm going to show you a hint here. When it comes to panko, panko doesn't like to brown on its own. It just doesn't. So what I do is just take a little tiny bit of oil and drizzle that in. Because we're baking these, we're not frying them. And you can see that panko absorbs the oil. I did not put much in, maybe a teaspoon, if that. But it will help in the browning process. So we preheated our oven to 400 degrees. So I'm going to take a tablespoon of the mashed potatoes, and I'm going to take one of the little pieces of cheese, and I'm going to put it in there, roll it around. Now these are seasoned mashed potatoes, regular mashed potatoes. Now I'm going to take it gently, roll it in egg, and then in our seasoned panko breadcrumbs. And I'm going to put it on a baking sheet. Either use a piece of parchment paper or a silicone baking mat like I'm doing. So we're just going to go ahead and make a bunch of these. And because they're cold, they're not sticky. And I think these are going to be so good. It's taking the humble potato and just bringing it to a new level. I did have to add in a 1/4 cup more of the panko breadcrumbs, but the 1 egg was perfect. So I would say about a cup of panko if you are using 2 cups of mashed potatoes. These came together effortlessly. I'm going to put them in a 400 degree preheated oven for just about 10 minutes and we'll check them. The recipe called for 10 minutes. We kept them in 15 minutes. And I think this is perfect. And what was so great is the cheese did not leak out. I cannot wait to try one. So we're going to turn the camera around. Let's see how these came out. So let's cut one of these open. Oh my goodness, look at it. It's like air. Oh, look at this. What do you all think?
Wow.
Okay, this may be a total win. I'm going to have Paul taste it.
Here we go. We're going to try the mashed potato puff balls with cheese.
I can hear them crunch.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah. That's incredible.
Is it that good?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. The mashed potatoes are awesome. The crispy crunch on the outside is it's soft and fluffy and crispy, and the cheese is cheesy and stretchy. It's like something you get at a carnival. You know, I could see getting a whole pile of these things.
Well, this is going to be perfect. We're serving it with our chicken piccata, and what we've done is we've elevated that little potato.
Yeah, they're great. Try them. You got to try them.
Dinner is served. Look at those little potato puffs. And the chicken piccata on the side. We're going to have a green salad. Absolutely delicious. I would definitely tell you to make these little potato puffs. What an amazing way to use up leftover mashed potatoes. Or honestly, make a batch just to make these. They are terrific. The extra added little piece of cheese in the middle took it over the edge. Of course it would. But even if you don't add that little piece of cheese and just make those potato balls, wow. What we're doing is reinventing. Instead of putting mashed potatoes on the table every week, we're just being creative. We're thinking out of the box. What a way to elevate it. What a way to make it so that it's not the same mundane vegetable, though it really is. We're just dressing it up a little bit. We hope this video blessed you. We hope you found it helpful. Now, today's question of the day. What is an area that you have noticed in your lives that you have decreased spending on now that prices are rising? We would love to know that. Paul and I, like I said, are revisiting our home entertainment. So what are ways that you are cutting back that you are conscious of? Please share that with us, because in doing so, you not only encourage us, but you encourage each other as well. And we appreciate that so much, because we are a family here. You guys are part of our family, and we tell you that all the time. And we are blessed to have you in our lives. So thank you so much for being here again. Please give this a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. Stay tuned at the end of this video, because Dixie is being a diva again. And I know how much you all love to see the little princess. She's too much, I'll tell you. We appreciate you. We love you so much. Please stay well. Please stay safe. And above all, we wish you blessings. Until our next video. Bye-bye. I just walked into the bedroom. Dixie? Dixie, what'd you do with Mommy's pillows? Why do you think everything is your spot to sleep? Where's my girl? We just made the bed. Look at this. Seriously, does this dog have the life? She is in total hibernation mode.